Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary guy, let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. We take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. Yeah, I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Not so tough, but mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
Welcome to the Dan Le Batard Show. I'm Amino Hassan filling in for Dan Le Batard. That is John Wiener. He's also known as Stugotz.
Hello.
We've got a wonderful program for you guys today.
What are you doing?
I'm the substitute teacher, and I'm just
that's why
reading
you
off
got
the
the
script.
glasses.
I don't
here.
like this substitute teacher.
No?
I like how the substitute teacher rolls in the TV.
Right.
We're watching
No.
Jurassic Park.
We're getting
sloppy, yeah.
We're getting work done today, guys. Keenan Allen got traded, and we need to talk about what the ramifications are for the Chargers. Stugotz.
Amazing. Bears won the offseason. Ramifications for the Chargers are Jim Harbaugh's telling you, I have a quarterback, doesn't matter who his wide receivers are. I don't know if that's the case or not, but it seems like Jim Harbaugh is saying, Mike Williams, don't need him. Keenan Allen, don't need him.
Mike Ryan, what do you think about the return that the Chargers got?
Mike
Fourth
Williams
round pick.
was cut because of the financial implications. They're way over the cap. It's not don't need him.
And he was
it's
hurt,
like
too.
it's $20 million or something that they shaved.
They could have gotten rid of Khalil Mack. They could have gotten rid of other guys. They decided to go Mike Williams and then trade Keenan Allen for a fourth-round pick to the Bears. Again, the Bears winning the offseason. But it seems like maybe Harbaugh thinks that's not a position of priority for the Chargers.
If you want to read into their offseason moves, and thank you for the question, Amin Al-Hassan, it would just seem from the recent things that we've seen that he's just trying to replicate the formula that he had in Michigan, which is just if Corum's like the first player they draft, it would not be surprising.
Billy Gill, thoughts on the college coach who came from the NFL, coming back to the NFL, but not bringing NFL stuff, bringing college stuff with him?
What?
Well, he was an NFL coach. He went to college. He's come back in the NFL, but he's not bringing NFL stuff with him. He's bringing college stuff with him.
Huh.
You're going to do this a whole show?
Are those real
Mike,
glasses?
please wait your turn.
Are those real glasses?
You have a question for each of us?
No,
I mean,
they're CGI.
No,
Somebody
I
raise
don't
their
know
hand?
if like Dan's glasses were there. Do
Is
you
this a
actually use those
Snapchat
glasses?
filter?
It's just a filter, yes.
You told me to wait my turn, and that's a very disciplinarian for a substitute teacher. That goes
Right.
against like what a
There,
substitute.
as I explained to Tony, there are two types of substitute
Yeah,
teachers.
but-
Some of them are like roll in the TV, let's just have a fun day,
it's
and
Friday.
others are determined to get work done.
What
Right.
percentage of your life is bits?
You know what?
Mr.
You
Mr. Al-Hassan.
You want to hurt me?
I
You know what
don't.
you want to do? You
Send him
want
to detention.
to hurt my feelings?
I mean,
no,
you
no.
won't be here tomorrow, so.
No, Roy. That's
Saturday
what he wants.
school?
He wants attention.
No. Send him to detention.
I know, and he wants attention. He
And he
acts
wants
out in
attention.
class. But you know why? Because no teacher has ever reached out to him. You know what?
Oh, they're throwing papers. Oh, no.
I'm gonna rap. Let me rap with you, Billy.
Oh.
You seem like a troubled youth.
Relatable.
Yeah. Nobody listens to you. Nobody really takes you seriously. I'm going to take you seriously.
100% Billy is your answer.
Please stop throwing paper. Not only is it disrespectful to me, it's disrespectful to the environment.
Just hoping that the camera catches it, but they've missed the first
No,
two.
because they're
Do
not.
it
They're not
again.
familiar. They're not familiar. No, they'd rather show the Ninja Warrior stuff in there.
They're undercutting our substitute here.
No,
Yeah.
it's all right. You know what? This is what we're gonna do. Let's play a game. I want everyone to go around the room.
Now we're cooking.
Stand up.
Right.
Tell us something about yourself, where you're from, and the last great meal that you had.
Man, I hated
Yeah.
these.
Chris, why don't you start us? You
I
seem really
hated
excited.
these. Well, I'm Chris.
Stand up.
You say you got to stand up.
I'm not doing this.
I'm Chris. Last night for dinner, what did I have for dinner last night? I had Outback.
Huh.
Where are you from?
I'm from Florida,
Wow.
South Florida. I'm from Miami, born and raised.
You're not from Miami.
Not
Roy?
true.
My name is Roy Bellamy. I'm from Miami Gardens, Florida, and last night I had pizza for Pi Day.
Nice.
How about that?
Huh.
Tony?
You're a dork.
Wow. Well,
Not doing this.
Can you hand me my?
Yeah, no.
You're standing, though.
Yeah, but I always stand. That's why he's calling on me. I always stand in class. But
Can I do what I would normally
dork,
do
not
if there was
doing
a
it.
sub? I'm just going to go to sleep. All right, you guys wake me
Are
up.
we allowed to talk?
Stugotz was right. Holy Stugotz was right. Happy birthday. Start of the day. Start of the day. It is the start of the day. Strong man. Start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day.
There you go.
What is happening?
what's happening
No
is
idea, Mike.
a cry out for attention from a bunch of prepubescent, immature.
Is it us that's crying out for
Jerks.
attention?
No. Let's move on.
Would love to talk about Terry Rozier.
What about him?
I don't know. Do we do local sports anymore? I would like to say like him playing is not good.
Well,
It's just like
that's all you
the
got?
sample is growing, and they keep losing.
Said that
and
before.
Just
What
like,
is
they play
there-
their best ball without him is just like. I know he occasionally has good games, like he's a good scorer, and like occasionally he's gonna have efficient games, and they're still gonna lose, and it's not necessarily fair to him. But the sample is growing, and they lose more than they win with him.
What's your solution for a team that is struggling offensively mightily?
I mean, I know Tyler. This also lines up with Tyler getting hurt. My solution is don't play him.
Mike, you traded for him.
Yeah, no, but you traded Kyle Lowry for him, which was a net negative, and you've improved, I guess, addition by subtraction. But why aren't they winning with Terry Rozier? That's my and I understand that Denver's a nightmare matchup for them, but they've also lost to the Washington Wizards. What's going on?
Well,
here?
Michael, I was at the game, and if you watch that game, that was a close game all the way up until the point where the Nuggets said, "Oh yeah, we have an offense," and they don't.
Yeah.
And then they just started scoring.
Scored 88
I don't-
points.
But that's not a Terry Rozier. I mean,
I understand.
They held the Nuggets to 100.
I don't mean to hold this Nuggets loss against Terry Rozier. Last one, I will hold that one against Terry Rozier. But they've lost to Washington. What I'm saying is, and I know I have a clear agenda here, and I wear my dislike for Terry Rozier pretty publicly and have for 5 years. I'm not moving off of this point. It's just the sample is growing to a concerning point, and it's not necessarily fair to put it all on Terry Rozier, but they don't have a winning record when Terry Rozier is playing. So my solution is
You say don't play him and play who?
my solution is play him fewer minutes, and just figure it out. Like they have a bunch of guys that can play a bunch of different positions.
I think Terry Rozier, for them to be successful, he has to have a role. And in order for him to find out whatever
Well,
that
he does
role
have
is,
a role. I think Mike's saying the role is too large. He's playing 35 minutes a night.
My role is like if we're struggling and we need to microwave some points off the bench, that's your role.
but it's still real disjointed watching him out there. There's a disconnect between the way they play offense and the way he plays offense, and I think that's just from unfamiliarity. They
Right.
haven't really found that.
You think they're
groove
going to
yet.
fix that?
I think the only way you fix it is by letting him play and
Because
figure it out.
he's played offense a certain way his entire career.
Yeah.
And
Well, his entire career since getting to Charlotte.
I mean, yeah, he was more efficient this year.
Yeah.
It was probably the weakest total team. He's played on some bad teams, but it may be coincidental that he had his best year when he was playing on the worst team. And yeah, he can grow and improve. And he has shown in his time in Charlotte, working with those coaches, that he has improved. He is not the same Terry Rozier that made me convinced that he was a worse player in the NBA when he was in Boston and whatnot. But what I'm saying is it's not a fit. His game is not fitting with the Heat's game. And Eric Spoelstra is a tremendous coach. If anyone can figure it out, he can. But they're suffering through a pretty dismal stretch right here, and it may force him to get into the play-in.
Anthony.
Isn't it kind of a work in progress too? Like, I mean, you've talked about how in the season, when you make a trade in the season, that player, there's no practice time in season. You're just playing. So it feels like they're kind of building the airplane in the air with Terry Rozier, and it's like, all right, come play, see if you can figure it out. But it almost seems like he needs an offseason to get right with the program of the Miami Heat to like fit in those spots. Right now, they don't have any scorers, right? Hero's not playing. Jimmy's not that guy right now. So everything kind of runs through him. It just feels like, all right, we're going to figure it out until we get here because we don't have any practice time.
Yeah, this team is bottom third in offense.
Do you agree with Tony? They're building the airplane in the air.
Is that a
Weird.
thing that happened?
Hard to do. Yeah.
Like starting a company.
How do you get up in the air?
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. Try doing it in a pandemic.
You gotta at least have the wings, right, before you get up, like, and then you
You
build
would
the rest
think,
of it.
right?
No. Engines.
Well, and wings. I
Well,
mean,
engines
Engine
first.
with no wings,
Yeah,
buddy.
build the wings
I
and
got
the
news
Wings
for
and no
you.
engine.
You just got a car.
You're just on the floor.
Engines without wings, though, you just have a car.
That's closer to a plane than just wings on the ground. At least you're moving.
right.
Birds don't have an engine.
Yeah, they do. It's called their hort. Stop disrupting, Christopher.
I think Chris is right, though. Birds don't have engines.
They do.
Technically.
It's called a hort.
It's not called an engine, so they don't have it.
Well, Billiam, it's called a hort, and a hort is the engine of a bird. So, as I was saying, Jonathan,
Yes.
the Heat are bottom third in the league in offense, but specifically bottom third in half-court offense as well, right? And then they don't even get transition opportunities. They're about a middle-of-the-road transition team. They're bottom third in getting them off of steals. So when it's so hard to generate points, how do you suggest that they should not play Terry Rozier as much when he's one of their better offensive players?
I mean, he's averaged 17 a game the last, 10 games or so, 48% shooting. I don't know what the Heat do. Like, we're going to spend time talking about this team, and maybe, perhaps, this team is just not good enough. Like, we're all, teams, the Celtics, Bill Simmons, we're afraid of the Heat. What are you afraid of the Heat for? They have shown you nothing over this regular season that suggests they're going to make a deep run into the NBA playoffs if they make it.
I think they did show you something during the stretch that Terry Rozier was hurt. They were playing their best basketball. That could be coincidental. I'm just talking it
But,
out
Mike,
here.
you just want to take him out of the equation. is what
I
you're
don't
saying.
like Terry Rozier.
I understand
and
that.
they're losing when they play him, and they win when he was on the roster but hurt. And stylistically, it doesn't necessarily seem like a fit. I don't know why they did this to me.
Mr. Al Hassan, I have a question for you.
Yes, Jonathan.
This NBA season, the postseason, is all about one player, right? One team, one player, correct?
Is it a specific player or are you just saying?
It's Jason Tatum. Like, no
Really?
one else has the pressure to win an NBA title this year quite like Jason Tatum. In fact, if any other team doesn't win, there's not going to be much of a reaction, meaning so-and-so choked, XYZ choked. But if the Celtics don't win an NBA title, it's going to be Jason Tatum's not good enough, right?
I will submit to you that it's not Jason Tatum who has the pressure, although you're right on the team. It is the Celtics.
Right.
They
have to win.
The team that has the pressure is the Celtics. The person at the Celtics who has the pressure is Joe Mazzulla.
Really?
Joe Mazzulla has, by my estimation, should be Coach of the Year.
I was agreeing with Stu. I was like, he's so right. There's no one with more pressure. And then you said Missoula, and I'm like, no, he's right. That's better.
Thank you, Christopher.
But that team has all the pressure.
But
on them.
here's the problem.
Over Daigneault?
Here's the problem. Right? No, yes, over Daigneault. I'll tell you why. First of all, they've been excellent wire to wire. They're incredible defensively. We made all these jokes about Joe Mazzulla, and they've gotten better offensively. He's done a phenomenal job. He doesn't have a bench. Think about this. He's doing this, and his bench is Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard, and Luke freaking Cornett.
Well,
and they play well, by the way.
Al Horford? I mean,
Al Horford had to start a bunch of games because
Right.
Porzingis has been hurt.
Yes.
So when you talk about those three guys playing well and that team thriving with that as their rotation, part of it is, by the way, those guys are playing well. I got to give the coaching staff credit for development. And part of it is he's winning with those kinds of players. I got to give it to him. But he does things that make it so that if they don't succeed, everything is going to fall on him. I don't know if you guys saw this last night. The Suns and the Celtics are playing, right? Celtics go on a nice little run. They score. Timeout, Phoenix. The timeout is called. Royce O'Neal for the Suns gets one of those little practice shots off. Joe Mazzulla runs from the bench to try to contest.
Missoula, the coach?
Mazzulla,
I've
the
never
coach.
seen the head coach
That's
try
so
to do
great.
that.
He sprints out on the floor and contests the shot by Royce
And
O'Neal.
he missed it?
Royce O'Neal missed it.
No, I'm saying, did he effectively swat the
No,
shot?
he didn't block it, but the shot was missed.
That's sad.
He
I've never
affected
seen a
it?
player, a coach or a player try
It
to
was
do
a great
that.
contest. It was a great contest. Afterward, they asked him about it, and he said, look, I tell our guys, I don't want guys getting shots off, practice shots off, and getting into a rhythm when they're not feeling well. So when we call timeout and it's in front of our bench, we're going to stop them one way or another. And since nobody else did it, I said, hey, the staff has to be responsible too. That was his explanation.
It's on me,
now,
Coach.
it's hilarious, and when you're winning, it's one of those quirky things that everybody loves. But when you lose, guys in the back row,
They're playing around back to your team.
we're trying to have a discussion here.
Guys, can you listen? Can you listen to
Royford,
Mr. Halson,
Michael,
please?
stop.
They've been trying to shoot in this little square like hole over here, and they aren't.
And they're
good.
missing
Yeah,
because
they
they're
haven't-
terrible at basketball. That's why this conversation doesn't interest me.
Terry Rozier.
You're not hitting that.
camera,
You're
you
not
bro.
hitting that either.
We've got that Joe
hit the
Mazzulla
camera,
contest on the
dingus.
screen, by the way.
Oh my God, that's great.
Can you imagine if he does a Zaza Pachulia to O'Neal, messes up his ankle? Can you imagine?
Can you imagine if Royce O'Neal hits the shot?
Let's go.
1 for 18 back there.
I wanted to see the Missoula thing.
Scary Terry.
We could run it back one more time. The point is, when you do something like this, you've boxed yourself into one of two things, Stugotz.
Yes, I'm listening.
Boxed yourself into one of two things. Either you're the greatest coach of all time because you're going to win championships and
Right.
everyone's going to accept you burning sage and all that kooky stuff and loving different wines and stuff, or you're going to be run out of this league as a kook. That is kooky behavior, regardless of whether they win or lose. But when you win, everyone
That's a
loves it.
stressed man right there.
Wait, so they make it to the NBA Finals and lose, and you're telling me he gets fired? Is that what you're saying? The only way he wins is by winning.
When you do stuff like that,
But
yes.
will he get fired when you do stuff like that to Royce O'Neal? I understand.
Depends
that.
on when
It's
you
cute
lose.
when you're winning, right?
Depends on when you lose, and depends on who you lose to, and it depends on how you lose.
It doesn't depend on what Jason Tatum does in the biggest game. Like, let's say it's a Game 6 NBA Finals, season on the line, championship on the line, and Tatum gives you a 3 of 16, you know?
We'll find a way to blame Missoula.
Really?
It's quantifiable with Tatum. Tom Haberstroh did a
Agreed.
deep dive on Tatum because I've long had a theory, and Mike Schur just kind of dismisses me. I'm like,
Yep.
there's something there with him.
Well,
He
it's
just
another-
has these weird stretches in games where he either disappears or is ineffective. And Tom Haberstroh did do a deep dive on the numbers, and it suggests that there's something to that hypothesis.
I would submit to you that it's because there are no adjustments that happen when it happens to him, and that's a coaching issue. I think if you're going to blame someone,
but he's
between-
played for good coaches.
I know, but still, they've got to do more. And I would say if there's a blame issue between Tatum and Missoula, guess who's going to get the blame? It ain't going to be Tatum.
But Tatum gets none of it for you? You're just putting it all. I'm with you. There's blame to go around.
I'm not
but
putting it all on him. I'm telling you, if that comes down to they didn't do well enough, they're going to put it on Missoula before they put it on the guy who might be MVP of this league.
Excuse me.
Let's move on. You know what, Jonathan? Since you want so much attention, let's talk about your day.
Attention. What do you mean?
How was your Thursday, Jonathan?
You know what happened to me yesterday? We
What?
have these work from home days for Meadowlark, which I'm very thankful for. I did some work, and then March happened. Billy and I did some God Bless football, and then I got into March. And what I mean by March is I started watching college basketball teams I haven't watched all season. I started betting large amounts of money on college basketball teams I haven't watched the entire season.
Prepping for the tournament.
I lost some money on Loyola, double overtime loss, Sister Jean.
Sister Jean.
Yeah.
Still kicking.
It's asking a lot, asking her to go to double overtime. And so she couldn't get it done. I lost money there. Then I won money later on, taking Marquette. Haven't watched him play. By the way, Buzz Williams no longer the coach at Marquette.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's Wojo, right?
It's Shaka Smart.
Oh, Shaka
What?
Smart. Oh, wow.
How about
He's not
that?
in Texas anymore?
It's March. And so then what I did was, I'm feeling good. I'm done with work. It's Friday. We're on the verge of a Friday.
Fine.
Yeah, yesterday was Thursday.
Well, we're on the verge of a Friday.
Doesn't have their
okay?
phone on silent.
It's almost
Fine.
Friday.
That
Well,
is a
anyway,
fine, Jonathan.
we digress. It's a fine. How much?
$2. $5.
$5.
$5.
$5. Get out of here.
Thank you for correcting me, Michael.
$5.
The teacher's not infallible. Sometimes the teacher also makes mistakes.
Right.
And we're all in this together.
So anyway, I took a gummy.
$5.
You put 2 in there.
Yesterday was a classic March day. The
It was a
start of the
great March
PGA.
day. I'm telling you, you had the PGA going on.
Players, guys.
You had
TPC
college
Sawgrass,
basketball
the Island
wall to
Green.
wall, noon until midnight last night, okay? But after I put the Marquette bet in, I went out and I took a gummy, and I went out and played 9 holes. And by the time I got to 16, the gummy kicked in.
So you played
Oh,
9 holes, but when you got to 16,
The
It starts
gummy
at
kicked
10,
in.
though. 'cause It starts at 10.
I only
so it
point
goes
this out
16.
10, 11. I came the closest I've ever come to having a hole in one on
Hell yeah.
11. That's Mike's hole. That's where he hit the driver. Greatest driver I've ever seen. He stuck it within 3 inches of the cup.
Was that the white belt
It's
game.
closer every time you say it.
Speaking of 3, you still owe $3.
I only have 2 more stories left. I have 2 more inches to work with.
You only have
Mike.
$2
Yeah.
there.
So
That's normal
anyway,
for you though, right?
That's what Abby says.
the gummy kicks in on 16. And oh, did me and 16 have some laughs. We laughed together because the gummy kicked in. I put 5 in the drink, and I'm like, I got to get out of here. I mean, that's what happened. So I went to Publix. And I have told you guys for a
I picture you just driving your golf cart from that tee box to Publix.
You didn't put 5 on the table, though.
You
only
called
put
an
2.
Uber, right? You didn't drive.
I did not drive, yes. I walked to Publix.
There you go.
And
Attaboy.
I've always told you guys, going to Publix on a gummy, very dangerous game. Going to Publix when you're on a gummy and your wife is not home, the most dangerous of games. So, Amin, I am going to show you what it is I purchased at Publix.
All the snacks.
Okay? And you can tell the guys what it is that I got.
Now, Jonathan, was Mrs. Stugotz
What?
gone out of town or just not there at the moment when you went to
She
Publix?
was gone the entire day, and boy, did I have a day. It's March. This is what I purchased. I went in there with the best intentions, but I was hungry, and I started walking around the aisles. I got some Mega Millions tickets, and then that happened.
Please tell me the video team has this picture. Please tell me the video
They
team
do
has
not.
this.
Just describe it.
Okay. 2 packets of M&M's, the theater kind, right, in the box. 2 different types of White Castle sliders. We've got the classic burger, and then we've got
Chicken sandwiches.
Was it BOGO?
chicken breast sliders. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely not a BOGO situation. Then we've got from Pillsbury Doughboy
Fine.
the what's that? Sugar cookie dough, just the dough. And also another one. Oh, these are Easter kinds.
It
right?
was buy one, get one free.
Yeah.
Now,
And
who
then-
pays for this fine? Because it was your phone, but it was in Amin's hands.
No, Stugotz is fine.
Can you put his phone on mute?
I
Thank you.
just did.
Okay.
All
I'm
right.
going to try hold it
5
up to
more
the
bucks.
camera right here
$5
so everyone can see.
Damn it, this is costing me.
Look at that. Zoom in.
Yeah, $7 more.
I love how he laid them all out to pick the picture too.
Oh, wow. Yeah, look at that. And what's that, French bread in the middle?
No, those are, because I didn't buy enough cookies, those are 2 sprinkled cookies from the bakery.
Those Publix sprinkle cookies are elite, by the
The
way.
best.
So good.
The greatest things ever. So 2 boxes of White Castle, a couple of sprinkle cookies, some frozen cookies. I baked a couple.
Were you in college?
How much of this did you eat?
I ate all of it. I mean, I had 2 cheeseburgers, 2 chicken sandwiches. I baked 1 set of cookies. I had the sprinkle cookies, both boxes of peanut M&Ms. It's March.
And Mrs. Wiener came back home and found what?
Mrs. Wiener was not home. Had Mrs. Wiener
She's
been
gone-
home, I never would have purchased any
No,
of that.
so when did she come home? She's still not home.
She's gone for the weekend.
How do you know she's ever coming back?
I don't. If she does, she does.
Party at Stu's house
I
this
can't
weekend.
control
What's
that.
up?
Right.
It's a free house? Is it okay if the teacher shows up?
No, teacher can't show
I'm
up.
hip. I'm cool. What are they? Well, I know how to whip and nay.
No.
Isn't that what the kids are doing now?
Fellow kids.
We're gonna have a march, boys.
And if you want to have a March and see some of these games and see some of these incredibly wonderful March Madness moments, why don't you download the Game Time app, create an account, and use a code DAN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. I actually use Game Time. I'm going to the Panthers game again because I had such a great time last Saturday. I looked for tickets in the same exact section as I had last week, thanks to Game Time, and I'm going to watch the Cats play the Bolts, a huge in-state rivalry. I saw exactly what my view would be from my seat. I saw upfront pricing, so no surprises with the fees. I love Game Time. It's the best, and they have a guaranteed rate. If you find something better, they'll match plus more. So download the Game Time app now.
Well done, Michael. Nice to see you contributing again, as opposed to just being a disruptive class.
I would like to talk about the Carolina Hurricanes and how they're convinced that they're an Achilles heel for the Florida Panthers. But if you really pay close attention to these games, they've landed on tricky road trips for the Florida Panthers, and they've been hurt. The Panthers, believe it or not, have scored 5 goals against the Carolina Hurricanes this season, which is an amazing feat when you consider they've been shut out in their last 2 games in Raleigh.
So you won't say, Mike, that of all the Eastern Conference teams, they're the one you'd want to see the least.
I don't like to talk about that way because I don't want to give them that social currency. But yeah, no, they're a difficult matchup. They're a good team. Look, this is I actually do think it'll be a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference Finals, which, for the record, and for their head coach over there in Carolina, was indeed a sweep. by the Florida Panthers. So I actually think Florida's recent track record against them is good. You can hold up the 2 shutouts and be super excited. I understand that if you're Carolina. They play they blew the doors off of Florida last night. They were super organized defensively. They played a Florida Panther game. I really hope to see them down the line because I don't like that team whatsoever. Old pandemic division rivals. Remember, we played in the, the Central Division presented by Discover?
That's correct, Joe.
When we come back, are you a better sports fan when your wife isn't home? Stugotz, one of the things I love about this show when we're on live is getting the live communications from people around the world, texting us, sending us messages. You got a message from Pablo Torre, who's watching live right now.
He said White Castle elite. He said White Castle burgers elite.
You got to put it in for the right amount of time, though, because, man, there is nothing worse.
25 seconds with the bun up, 25 seconds reverse.
There is nothing worse.
Baby.
There is nothing worse than you bite into that thing and
Soggy.
it's cold.
Cold.
You get the you haven't put it in long enough and you bite in that is the worst thing in all of life.
Well, Pablo's eating actual White Castle though. Probably.
That's the difference.
Like not frozen, microwaved White Castle.
Number one, yes, there's a huge difference.
I'm pretty
Going
sure
to White
those
Castle.
are also frozen.
No.
Those are made fresh, Chris.
Fresh,
Come on.
buddy. I see it with my own eyes on the grill. Number one.
I
Number
saw
two.
them kill a cow.
I saw them raise the cow.
Oh, damn.
They named it and everything.
They said, "Would you like ketchup?" I said, "No, the cow's blood."
The key to the White Castle burger and enjoying it to the max is not looking at the meat.
Oh, no. Got to stare at the meat.
No, you stare at the meat, you're done. You won't eat it. Are you kidding me?
What are you talking about?
Dangerous game.
Put it in my mouth.
It doesn't look like meat.
Chris, I've developed a taste for a microwaved delectable that is cold in the middle. It's almost like a nice kind of umami thing going where it's scalding hot here, and then all of a sudden you find that cold frozen middle.
Uncrustables, I was going to say.
It's the best.
It is Uncrustables.
You guys don't like that?
No, I do. In fact, there was a story that I read that there was a shocking amount of Uncrustables delivered to the Kansas City Chiefs hotel that the staff there, because they would order them by the crate, was blown away. They could not comprehend how human beings could eat so many Uncrustables.
Air fryer's the play, by the way.
Really?
Especially for White Castle burgers,
dude.
too.
Dude, I got to get on that.
Here, I'm going to tell you, before we get to air fryers, because I do have a take on that. But, Mike, professional sports teams love Uncrustables. Every NBA locker room, you go in there before the game, there's a spread, there's fruit, there's some coffee and stuff, and then there's Uncrustables laid out there. And I used to, when I was a video coordinator, I used to sneak in the locker room and grab some and then stash them. It's all about the stash. You grab and stash, and then tomorrow morning, guess what I'm having for breakfast? Uncrustables. But, Chris, here's my problem with air fryers. Air fryers are superior technology to microwaves, right? The food comes out tasting better. Problem is, I have a whole lifetime of knowing how much time to put on the microwave to cook anything. I don't have to read the wrapper or anything. Just shove it in there.
But it's different for different foods.
But I know for a microwave. For air fryer, how do you do it? What do you do?
You just do it
eye
2
test.
minutes and eye test.
Yeah, but you got to put the
pause.
degrees high.
Yeah.
You got to put the degrees low.
You
if
can
wanna
also
cook something
Google it
internally.
because Google has a result for every type of food to air fry.
I mean,
I
it's
swear.
it's like everything. Yes. First of all, you can get YouTube or Google, anything will tell you how to do it.
Too much work.
Like the microwave, you just do it
Too much
for a couple
work.
years and you get a feel
You eyeball
for
it. Yep.
Like it's just like the microwave. 2 minutes at like 375, you're cooking usually.
Really?
Like I'm just saying that'll get the job started. Maybe you'll need a little more time, but that's how you gauge it.
I used to not like Uncrustables. In fact, I used to not like peanut butter and jelly at all.
What's
and then
wrong?
my
What?
your palate, because my palate said I didn't like it, but your palate changes every 7 years. And I had a happy discovery a couple of months ago. I used to hate broccoli. 37 years on this planet.
Air fryer.
I hated broccoli.
Yeah.
Actually, oven. But now, I like broccoli. It just happened. I'm like, this isn't
gotta be
bad.
seasoned.
You
Well.
go to a Chinese restaurant, they got beef with broccoli. You were like, ew.
Ooh, that one's still tough for me to wrap my head around because of the I like a crispy broccoli.
Do you
I like it
separate
slotted
the
in
beef
sauce.
from the broccoli? Do you do that if you order it? Do you separate?
I do. I always used to. If I had broccoli in my Chinese food, I would always like pick it out. And still like the slimy, soggy broccoli, that's going to take some getting used to.
I love it. That's like to me the beef and broccoli. Like that's the worst version of broccoli.
No.
Give me like crispy in the oven. Like that's
Are
like, you're talking about like it's like a boiled like a
Sauté.
I don't like.
I don't want my
In
broccoli
the wok.
boiled.
You got to tell him in the wok.
I don't like any boiled veggies.
You guys are tripping.
I like crisp.
Yeah, give me some crisp.
What about steamed?
Crunch, a little
I'm
texture.
every vegetable I cook at the
Steam,
end.
same
I'm
animal.
broiling that
But
thing.
steam can be a little crunchier.
When they have the veggie tray, are you the one grabbing the raw broccoli? And
No.
I'm not
Get out.
touching
I'll dip
that.
that.
Right.
No,
I'm
I'll
not
dip that in some.
If it
I
was
like broccoli.
fried, I'd be in.
I like broccoli my way, but I used to hate broccoli. And, let this be a lesson for those in the audience. You could be so set in your ways and convinced that you don't like a food. Give it 7 years.
Is that real? Does anyone else have this experience of 7 years later? You're
100% true.
A lot of people
oils?
with alcohol, actually.
Seed oils. That when I
No, but Tony, Mike doesn't truly like broccoli.
But I
He
find
likes it a certain way. It's like Brussels sprouts.
I love Brussels sprouts, by the way.
Right.
I'm a
You
late
get 'em so do
bloomer.
I.
I used to hate Brussels
Pan
sprouts.
fry with a little
Brussels
bit of
sprouts is
bacon
great.
inside.
I'm a late bloomer
So
for
good.
beef sprouts.
Brussels sprouts, best PR ever for vegetables. Because when I
Kale.
was growing
Kale,
up,
no
Kale.
no,
Kale.
and when I was
Kale's
growing
a
up,
horrible
I'm
veggie.
gonna tell you why. Because kale, when I was growing up, I never even heard of kale. Never even heard of it, and it still stinks. But people do
It's
it because
new.
it's healthy, right?
It's not new.
It's new.
old.
No,
it's
it's
definitely
new.
new. Kale's brand
Dude,
new.
at Pizza
They
Hut
just
back in the
invented
90s,
it.
they would put kale as the little garnish around
It's a
the
garnish.
Really?
You weren't
Before
meant to
could
eat it.
That's before you could eat it. It's
You-
new.
Yeah, you weren't meant to
Glorified
eat it.
collard greens.
But glorified collard greens.
Yeah.
It's
I don't
white.
like
It's
collard
gentrified
greens.
collard greens.
It's
Yeah,
not
that's
even
exactly what it is.
gentrified.
It's
It's not,
I don't
it's
like
not even
collard
close.
greens. No, I'm
Be
not going to
respect-
be careful.
be respectful.
I'm being
Be
respectful. Is that
Are you
what you
sure
mean?
about that?
Be respectful.
What? I'm not going to say you're an idiot for liking collard greens. It's just not my thing yet.
Little
But
ham
give it
inside?
7
Ooh,
years.
I
Going back
7
to
years, I
Brussels sprouts PR, because when I was growing up, when they wanted to demonstrate on TV, Stugotz, back me up here, on TV, on a sitcom or in a movie, the kids didn't want to eat. The mom would say, "Eat your Brussels sprouts," and the kids like, "Ew, they're gross." And now it's like the gourmet item. Everyone's like, "Ooh, how are the Brussels sprouts here? Like, what is this? Where did you guys grow up?"
I will back you up on that, but now they're dripped in like oil. They're
Yeah.
fried. They have bacon bits in them. They're delightful.
Yeah,
I mean,
those
they
are
are.
Put a little,
Little
honey on that
Asian
thing.
sauce on top.
Oh, so good.
A little honey on your Brussels sprouts?
Yeah, it's like a finisher. Yeah, put it back in the oven, get it caramelized.
Maybe
Yeah.
I'm just a 20 CB kind of guy.
There's
but-
basically nothing that doesn't love a little drizzle of honey on it.
It's funny that we've roamed this
Cheeseburger.
planet for however long we have, and we just discovered hot honey and garlic cilantro sauce too. I'm pretty sure garlic cilantro was invented in like 2002.
No.
and now it's amazing.
No, garlic
It's
cilantro's been
everywhere.
around. Garlic cilantro's been around. You
Yes,
have to
since
go.
2002.
You got to
I've
walk.
been Cuban my whole life, and garlic cilantro just like came upon the scene, and now all of a sudden it's a pollo tropical. Yeah.
I sometimes go there and steal it. Like if I'm cooking chicken and I'm like, I need some garlic cilantro, I'll just walk right into a pollo, scoop up some things to go, and just walk out.
Just sell that at Publix.
Take 4 of those things home with me.
Now, cilantro was invented in 6000 BC.
Yeah, but
But
garlic
garlic
cilantro.
I understand.
Cilantro
I'm
was
getting to it.
invented.
I get it.
I
They
think-
didn't meet.
Yeah.
Stugotz.
Who invented it? Was it kukuru?
When you finish, see when kale was invented.
They they both walked the earth separate from one another, never bumping into each other until 2002, according to Mike.
Spider-Man meme. They're like, wait a second. What if we mix together with cream?
Kale was invented in 2000 BCE.
No.
That's what it says
Why'd
here.
you pronounce it like that?
Look it up. I don't know. What's the next one? Garlic, cilantro?
Garlic cilantro cream.
Okay.
The sauce.
Really?
This is a segment we call Stugotz Googles. It's brought to you by.
Yeah. Because it was like at the turn of the century, a bunch of these chicken kitchen competition joints started popping up, and there was one place next to FIU that decided to eschew the mustard curry sauce and introduce garlic cilantro.
Best
And
thing
I'm
they ever
pretty
did.
sure that's when garlic cilantro sauce
Here.
was
The
invented.
world was never the same.
There's really not a white sauce you don't like. There's garlic
That was
cilantro.
chicken grill, I think.
Tzatziki.
There's the white sauce from La Granja.
Yes, it was.
Aioli.
Aioli. Aioli just mayo, right?
Yeah, it's
That's another
glorified mayo.
That's another PR like coup.
Mike was right. 2001.
That's incredible. I told you he was just invented. That's amazing.
You know
That's
what?
across the street from FIU also,
Yeah.
right?
Chicken grill.
Even though 3 chefs and a chicken is the most superior of all chicken places like that.
Yeah.
Let's try to think of a chicken like restaurant name that hasn't been used yet.
What?
Because there's like Chicken Grill, 3 chickens, chicken.
No, 3 chefs
kitchen.
and a chicken.
Yeah.
Three chickens would be funny.
I'd
3
call it
chickens
3
and a
chefs.
chef is different. Yeah, 3
I'm a
chefs.
3 chefs guy.
Chickadees.
I mean, for everybody else
Yeah,
that doesn't
yeah.
know.
What about
I don't want them to know. Keep that line short.
Chick-fil-A, but with an ET at the end.
Fillet.
Chicket.
Phil Chique. That's how you do it.
I know a Phil Chique.
No, you don't.
It sounds like Kramer.
He's a bantamweight.
I so fell for that.
It was very.
He was
Kramer,
fighting at Bellator.
He was.
Tony, being a better sports fan when your wife is not home.
Guys, my wife was gone for a business trip a couple of weeks ago for the whole week. And I found myself so dialed in on hoops. It was crazy. I was watching like Pacers Raptors on League Pass, and I was like, wow, Halliburton. This guy's good. What are we doing? OG Anunoby, not a Pascal Siakam, not a Raptor
anymore.
He's a Pacer.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
you
not
tuned
a
into
Raptor
that
either.
game and you were surprised at which team he was
I was
playing
like,
for.
ooh, I hate these jerseys though. They have like these like navy jerseys with like a weird script on them. Whatever.
Yeah,
Not the point.
that's the city edition jersey.
The point is, I was so locked in on hoops, right? I was watching games every single night. I was watching back-to-back games. That was when the Heat were on a road trip, so I was watching Kings Heat at 11:30 at night.
The late game, yeah.
Super locked in. My wife comes home, haven't watched an NBA game.
No,
since.
what? Now I feel like you're just blaming her. Why is she responsible?
Because she
feel
wants
like
to watch
it, he is.
She wants to watch other things. Obviously, we
Right.
got to catch up on Love Is Blind. She wants to watch a movie. She wants to do this. She wants to do that. It's tough to watch sports when your wife's home.
Tony, I got advice here. Hold on, let me give a little advice.
Talk to me. Put me on game.
Honey, it's for work.
Hot honey.
Ooh.
I have to
watch
watch
it.
this.
Yeah, but
Yes.
she doesn't want to
Right.
watch Bucks Suns.
Yeah,
But hey,
the-
but honey,
Hot honey.
it's for work.
The only shot that you got is getting your wife invested in the team. Now, my wife loves the Panthers, and when I put that game on the TV, the main TV was sound. It's not a problem.
That's true. My wife is also in on Panthers.
How do I
right now.
sell her that the Clippers are actually kind of good and we want to watch the Clippers?
You're toast with NBA. The regular season there is
You're gonna have to
meaningless.
sell her on Terry Rozier.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Wait
have
a
to be like,
second.
look,
Very terrible.
Wait a second. There's 82 NHL games in the regular
The
season.
NHL regular season has been incredible. Every night
So is
there
the
is
NBA.
a dream matchup of division leaders. No. The NBA, there is no consequences in the NBA. No good teams are missing the NBA
No.
playoffs. There are good teams missing the playoffs in the NHL.
Name one.
I will tell. Minnesota's probably going to miss it.
Right.
Detroit, they've been good during most of the regular season. They're on a skid right now.
They played themselves out of a playoff spot.
There were back-to-back
rare.
nights where division leaders went on the road, were down 3 goals, came back to win. It was incredible. There was a game winner off someone's face the
Wow,
other day.
Really? The difference is it's a local team. You can get you can
There you
sell
go.
your wife on cheering for the local team.
No,
you
I
can't
can't.
get her to watch Siakam.
How do I
mean,
sell her on Luka Doncic looks like me, but also is the best player in the NBA?
I saw my wife on Canucks Avalanche the other day.
I feel like the Heat have played themselves out of the playoffs.
Like when you walked into the house?
I mean, it was 10:30 at night. Late night delight. Late night hoser special. God, the NHL's electric
Yeah, they
right
are.
now. That sport is on a launch pad to the moon. Why is everyone up but the NBA is down?
Because of bad PR from people like you. NBA's great.
Because everybody's wife is
It's
home,
never
that's
been
why.
better.
Everyone's wife's their home.
All right, our next guest, you know these guys from Grantland. They work together on Shea Serrano's show, Primo. 6 Trophies is their NBA podcast. You can catch it wherever you get podcasts. It's Shea Serrano and Jason Concepcion. Look at that.
What up, baby?
Super early after spending the night watching TNT basketball. Well, how much coffee you got in you, Jason?
None. This is just the pure love of the game.
High on life. Got it. Let me start with the Celtics and the Suns. I was talking to the guys here and told them that Joe Mazzulla at one point came out and contested the Royce O'Neal shot after
What's that?
the whistle. Is that inspired coaching or is that insanity?
I mean, it's funny, and I'm glad it happened, but you can't. What are you doing? What's going on? Come on, Joe.
I kind of feel like he's painted himself into a corner where either he's the coaching genius that everyone will bend the knee to, or he's going to get fired very soon. Because you can't be that eccentric and not win.
There's no in between.
You gotta win. You gotta win. You gotta win.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have to win the championship. If you win the championship, then doing all of that goofy stuff makes sense, and you're like, oh, it worked. Pat Riley dunking his head into the bucket full of water and holding his breath, like it worked. It makes sense. But if you lose, then it doesn't. Then you're like, what? All right, Joe, you got it.
But Pat didn't bring the bucket to the sidelines. You know, I do think that there is something of the Pat Riley approach to Joe. I think he's trying to be like, hey, like we got to be ruthless, we got to be crazy, we got to do Brazilian jiu-jitsu like in the arena. You can't let guys just have free shots, even if it's after the whistle. Like we are going for the championship. We got to watch the town 500 times a day and just be about it. And I think that's probably where this comes from. That said, that was just, what if he slipped and fell? That's what I was thinking. What if he came down like on a guy's foot and then twisted his ankle and is out?
Zaza.
What if that happened, Joe?
It'd be a different story. Yes, we agree. An entirely different story, but it didn't happen. But Shea, don't you think like the guy that fans are going to come down on is not Mazzulla? It's going to be Jason Tatum. Now, Ami might be right because you can't get rid of Jason Tatum. You can fire Joe Mazzulla, but Tatum's going to take the heat if the Celtics don't win it, right?
Tatum absolutely will. Jason and I were just talking about that on the show this past week after their game against the Nuggets. He had like 15 points or something. He just didn't look right. That you were on the Celtics subreddit and they're just ripping him to shreds. Like that's what they do. That's the guy that they go to, which makes sense. That's your best player. That's the guy who's supposed to deliver the championship. And if he doesn't deliver the championship, even more than the coach, that's who Celtics fans will go after. It's him first for sure. He's always he's the point of that arrowhead.
I don't know, man. I just feel like when Mazzulla does things like that, then it's just there's no other logic. Everyone's gonna say, well, if they had like a normal coach, they've
had a normal coach though. The normal coach didn't work either.
How about if they had a star that could shoot in crunch time?
Ooh, ouch.
Right.
Oh, but
second star
it's
that
a
could
little
dribble
overblown though. Yeah, I mean, but Brown's been amazing over for the entire season. And the left thing has not been as big of an issue. Turnovers haven't been as big of an issue. To me, it's like, listen, they blow teams out. They're a historic regular season team. They're killing teams. Their net rating is like plus 11 something. The issue is close games. Like what is the game plan in close games? Denver has a thing that they go to. And it works every time. The Jokic Murray pick and roll. What do the Celtics do? And I think part of this is a function of the fact that they blow everybody out. They don't really get to practice the close game execution, and that's where it feels the most shaky.
That's an awesome take. That the reason why they're not good at close games is because they don't have enough practice at it. Like, hey, I'm never in a close game situation.
They played in a ton over the last couple of years.
No, not enough, Stugotz. Not enough to figure it out.
Never enough.
Jaylen Brown liked this tweet recently. It was a tweet that said if Jaylen Brown was the number one on a team, he would average over 30 a game and be in the MVP conversation, which is my favorite bar of them all, the MVP conversation bar, not to be confused with that hack. What's his name? What's that hack's name over at
Nick
Fox?
Wright.
Nick Wright. There you go. I forget his name because I don't know his content.
It's like
but
a
he knows
nightclub
mine.
or something, an MVP nightclub.
Yeah,
or
he
something?
stole my idea.
Amin
It's an
had it
easy
first,
name.
The MVP conversation bar. Should Jaylen Brown be admitted into the MVP conversation bar, Jason Concepcion, would he be on his own team?
If he was on his own team, yeah, I think he'd be in the conversation. He'd be in the top 5 MVP candidate.
How good of a team?
Conversation?
How good of a team would
What's
it be?
that?
How good of a team would it be?
They'd be like if he was the best player,
yes.
they'd probably be like a 4th, 5th seed. They'd be pretty good with a puncher's
No, I think
chance.
they're 7. If he was on his own team, it would be a Luka situation where he would be getting crazy numbers, and that's why we're going to talk about him in the MVP conversation. But the team is a 7 seed. Like, they're not going to win the championship, is how that goes.
They're not going to win the championship.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll go one further. I don't even think he'd be in the MVP conversation. I think he'd put up crazy numbers. I think he'd like 30, that yes. But the difference between him and Luka is Luka passes. Luka passes really well, right? And Jaylen Brown passes, but not well enough to lift a team, I think, beyond, like you said, a 6 or a 7, Shay. I don't think they win 50 games if he was the best player on the team.
Wow.
I think that's like a
now,
47 win team.
His passing's been better this season.
Better.
He makes the easy pass, and I think he makes it pretty well. To be fair to him, it's also like not his role to be like that playmaker guy. Jaylen, don't forget this. I believe in you. I believe you can win 50 games as the best player. Don't forget that.
All right, they beat the Suns, as we said last night. The Suns are currently tied for 7th in the West. Is this a case, Shay, of time running out, or is this a tiger waiting to pounce?
The Suns? No,
Yeah.
that time is over. It's past. As soon as Giannis blocked Ayton in the finals, that was like, all right, this window has slammed shut. They're not doing it this year. They're not gonna do it, and it's just gotten progressively worse since then. As good as it feels like they should be, I think all of us are like, because we've been watching them for so long, because we've been watching Durant, Book, Beal and Durant more than Book, but it's like we sort of automatically subtract 4 years from their playing career, and we're just like, oh, this is 2017, it's 2018. Kevin Durant, this 2017, 2018 Bradley Beal. But they're not gonna do anything. They're not scary at all. Jason and I talk a bunch about which of the teams are you afraid of if you're on a different team, and I don't think anybody right now is afraid of the Phoenix Suns. Like, you would happily play them in the playoffs.
I would disagree from this standpoint, guys. The Suns, like the teams you're looking at in the West, they've never done it. Talk about not playing in big games. Oklahoma City, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Clippers, the Pelicans, the Sacramento Kings. If the Suns play any of those teams, I'd take them to win that series. Not Denver, but those other teams.
Yeah.
Interesting. I just think that core has never played. This is their first year playing together. And I think that's really hard to do, is be a championship level team that goes that even gets the conference finals, and this is your first year playing together. I think that's really difficult, and the eye test and the record test tells me that it's just too high a mountain to climb anyway. Like, they really need to start collecting some of these wins, and it just feels like it's not gonna happen. You're waiting for that other gear, and you don't see it.
Yeah, last night was a perfect example. The game starts, Kevin Durant is playing incredible, and you're like, oh, cool. If Kevin Durant hangs 50, maybe the Suns can win. But then the shots started, the second half starts, they just start falling further, and all of a sudden they're down by 20 points. And you're like, what the heck just happened? Like, they're missing that beat. They're missing that piece of it right now. I don't think it's there.
You guys have a top 5 for us. Top 5 forgotten Phoenix Suns.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Now, just to counterpoint, Stugotz has also come up with his own top 5.
Yeah, I have top 5 Suns we'll never forget. How about that?
Okay. Never forget. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what we're going to do. You guys are going to say 5, then Stugotz is going to say 5, then 4, and we'll alternate and we'll play a little fanfare in the middle.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Here we go. Let's go.
Who's
Say number 5.
Oh, number 5.
Thank you.
Shay and Jason
5.
first. Yeah, go.
Yeah.
Okay. Truck Robinson.
That's a great one.
That's a great
I forgot he was a Sun.
Number 5, Stugotz.
Tom Chambers.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, stole one of ours.
What? How could he be forgotten?
Monster dunk on Mark Jackson.
Number 4.
Wow.
Big O, Oliver Miller.
Yes.
Number 4, Stugotz.
Dan Marley, Thunder Dan.
Refresh my drink for a second. So there's his Suns that
Refresh my drink.
Forgotten.
forgotten and
Forgotten Phoenix Suns. Mine are top 5 Suns we'll never forget.
just making
Oh,
sure.
okay.
Number 3,
Okay.
Shay and Jason.
Dick Van Arsdale.
Oh, the original Sun. Number 3, Stugotz.
Amari Stoudemire.
Standing tall and talented.
Hello.
Number 2, Jason and Shay.
Technically a Minnesota forgotten legend, but I'm going to call him a Suns forgotten legend. Thomas Gugliotta. Tom Gugliotta, Long Island legend as well.
Saw him a couple weeks ago.
Good one. Yeah.
Number 2, Stugotz.
Kevin Johnson.
AJ.
And the number 1 forgotten Phoenix Sun, according to Shay Schlerano and Jason Concepcion, is
My favorite Phoenix Suns player of all time, Raja Bell. Give me Raj.
FIU pulls up. Killian stands up.
that's my vet.
Hopefully his son comes to the U.
The number 1 Sun, Stugotz, that you will never forget.
Charles Barkley.
Where's Cedric Sabalas?
Cedric Sabalas. Where's Steve Nash?
Nash.
2-time
Cedric
MVP.
Sabalas.
Yeah, too many teams. Yeah.
Cedric Sabalas has the blindfold on. He's running around. Can't find his way to the arena.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, y'all. Later.
Bye.
Thank you.